back in 1967, I believe it was. And I was installing this recruiter's telephone, and I was telling him that I got a draft notice, and I was asking him about what it meant. He says, "Well, you need to join. That way, you can get a choice rather than being drafted, and they would put you where they wanted you." I says, "Okay, can I fly helicopters?" We were poor, okay, so we couldn't afford plastic models. So I had dibs on all the cornflakes boxes once they were empty. I'd make a template and then construct an airplane, take a kitchen chair, rig the strings, and make the controls work the way they were supposed to work. So I says, "Yeah, if I can fly an Army, that would be great." He says, "No, you can't do that." So he says, "Well, if you take an extra year, you'll get a skill and you won't go to Vietnam." So I took an extra year, I got a skill, and I went to Vietnam. As usual, I began as an E1, private E1 in the Army. My first tour in Vietnam, I went to E5 or Spec 5, and then I went to pilot training and became a Warrant Officer 1 and Warrant Officer 2 in Vietnam. Condor Quartet, all four of us were in flight school at the same time in Fort Walters, Texas. The guy that passed away, Jim Casher, we were in the same class, and the other two, Clyde Romero and Bob Ferris, were in their same class. And so I ran into those guys in Texas. We went to Vietnam just about as a class. The whole class of us, we were dispersed all over Vietnam, and just as fate would have it, Bob, Clyde, and Jim Casher were in the same unit. And then I appeared. Yeah, ergo quartet. Someone coined the Condor Quartet. I don't know where it came from. Yeah. And then at that time, we were contending with the people back in the States protesting the war. So that was kind of like, it was a paradox. It's like, okay, so I'm fighting for people back there, but they don't want us fighting this, and what's going on. And so it gets down to fighting for each other. We said they don't care about us back home, but we have to take care of each other. We're here now. I cover your back, you cover my back. We're protecting each other. So everybody has to rationalize why they're shooting at other people in war. I don't know, but my justification came down to I'm protecting my buddies. And the Condors, they feel the same way. The bonds, I mean, I've known these guys for, and they're not the only ones I still know. It's a lifetime brotherhood, sisterhood. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have that with the Air Force. I have that with the CAF. Yeah. Say, hey, where you from? Hey, this and that, and you go back and forth and you find out, okay, yeah, we have something in common. Clyde Romero and I were trained mechanics. So I was a trained helicopter mechanic in the Army, and he went through aviation training in his high school, I believe. So we had that in common. There's a lot of similarities. There's being raised by a single parent, things like that. Kind of like, neighborhood issues and how you grew up and how people look at you becoming a pilot or thinking you were going to be a pilot. So those were some of the common issues. It's very similar to experiences being a member of the armed forces, being a soldier, is that you have automatically, when you find out that someone's a veteran, that's a bond. It's like nobody else can understand what that is unless you serve. When you serve, you become brothers. You yeah. Oh yeah, it was the cab. It was the cab. I mean, the hat, the esprit de corps. It's like we bad. It's like we are. I mean, it's like we're the tip of the sword, the tip of the spear, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, yeah, we can do this. We didn't have any subdued anything. I had a red cobra on my helmet, so we were, yeah, we was like, hey, come get it. That's it. Yeah.